Hello and welcome to the stream. I just lost Q. So at the exact moment that the stream was starting, we ran into a technical difficulty. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Plug her back in.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is there volume?
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. All good.
Okay.
Here we go.
I think we're live. Sorry about that, everybody.
All right. All
Wow.
right. All right. Let's get this thing cranked up and rolling.
Do we have any feedback issues? I guess we're okay. It's really cool that Cub and Brent are in the chat. And welcome to Euler Greg's Mysterious World, Episode 1. We are going to deal with the legend of Boggy Creek and well, I guess we lost Q again.
What happened?
I don't know, you just disappeared.
I don't know. I see a connection in here to the oil rig, which your mic is red.
What?
I didn't touch anything.
I don't know why that keeps happening. Okay. So theoretically, we should both be on again.
All right, guys. Testing 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Okay, so the legend of Boggy Creek is about a swamp monster. This monster is probably related to Bigfoot, but we can't be totally sure. I cannot say that there's any direct evidence of this creature. It's the same problem we're going to have with any of these creatures. Uh-oh, we have an echo. I wonder if that's caused by your mic. Can you hear me at all? Is the echo still there? Okay.
Is there any audio on my end?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get out of
the... Guys, we have some technical issues here, so bear with us.
Right.
Sorry about
that.
Well,
Normally we'd be in a separate room, but for some reason his headset's not functioning correctly. He can speak, but he can't hear, apparently. I'm not sure why. Why don't you check the volume?
That's what I'm doing.
I mean, on the tablet. So this is a lot of fun for everybody, I know. Was it turned down? So you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. All good.
Okay, I'm going to go in the other room.
All right.
That should solve that. Sorry about that. I'll just do this from a different location. It's amazing that this is working at all, to tell you guys the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, everybody.
Hey, Nicole,
And
the YouTube, it probably is not YouTube. I think the problem was a little technical problem on our end.
it was definitely a technical problem on our end. Q didn't turn up the volume on the tablet. To be fair, we had to swap out tablets at the last minute, and that caused the issue. The other one just kept disconnecting from the internet. But anyway, the problem with the legend of Boggy Creek Monster for me is the only direct evidence we have is things like plaster cast of a large foot, the Bigfoot phenomenon. And, you have the locals who have eyewitness testimony, and that's basically the only evidence you have because we don't have any good photographic evidence, which bothers me as we get more into a time of everyone having a camera, a lot more than it did when the 70s or 80s, when almost nobody had a camera right handy. To set up what this program or series of programs is supposed to be, if you ever watched In Search of with Leonard Nimoy or Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, those from the 70s and the 80s, they would find interesting, mysterious subjects on a wide variety of issues and investigate them and bring whatever facts they could and then offer their opinions on the subject. So that's my thought is to try to do that. And I picked a couple of issues from long ago. These are just right out of Leonard Nimoy's In Search of. The Lost Colony of Roanoke seems to be one of the original mysteries of the United States. Well, it wasn't even the United States, it was a colony of Great Britain at the time. So this would be one of the original British mysteries. And also, Boggy Creek is the nearest Bigfoot type creature to my location. It's, if you don't know where it is, it's around Falk, Arkansas, which is about 10 miles outside of Texas and Louisiana, right up on the northeast corner of Texas, and just north of Louisiana, where you still have swamps. So this is a very swampy area, and you could easily have some type of creature hiding up in that area. I've been up in that area, and it is spooky as you could imagine. The roads are not great. What view there are, the people, there's not that many people. It's rural. If you were gonna have a creature, yeah, that would be an area where he could definitely hide. You got a good food source. There's wild hogs and all kinds of fish, and uh, I don't know. What do you think about all this? Q
Well,
Q is Basil's name as well.
cousin. Yeah, it's a definitely very interesting scenario. What I was going to tell you is I find it interesting how you brought up the idea of people not having cameras back in the day. Well, today, not only do large portion of the society have a cell phone camera, but now we've got these amazing field cameras, so we can actually go into certain areas and hang these wireless cameras in the trees or mount them somewhere and try to capture streaming video as well as still pics of what's going on out there. So that remains to be an option for us. But as far as these strange sightings go, yeah, I do totally agree. We have insufficient evidence as to reality of these creatures, other than strange
That doesn't mean that
sightings
they're not
and
real. We've got
no,
Stonebender
not by
here
any stretch of the imagination.
in the comments. Stonebender says, "Hey Greg, yeah, they are real. I've had more than one close encounter." That's very cool. I was really hoping we'd get some people in who had actually seen stuff like this. I can't say
Uh-huh.
that I've seen Bigfoot, but you know, I'll tell you this: the fact that we don't have the direct evidence, the fact that we only have the eyewitness reports, I've listened to these people very carefully, and these are Southerners, and I'm a Southerner, and that's one reason why I started with this. It's easier, I think, to detect falsehoods in people who are close to who you are. Like Brent could probably pick up on British people being false a lot easier than I could. But yeah, I don't see falsehoods in their testimony. They feel like they're telling the truth, and and the fact that we've got somebody in the chat who's actually seen one, that goes to show that this is a widespread phenomenon, and
Yeah, I totally agree.
I can't just dismiss it. The fact that it's not provable at this point doesn't mean that it's not going to be provable. If these things really exist, and we've got, I'll investigate each and every one of these that we can, but we've got Bigfoot in the north west part of the United States, and you've got the abominable
This one down
snowman.
here in the south, yeah.
We've got Boggy Creek down here, and there's additional other swamp creatures, but this is the most famous, the Boggy Creek one. We
This
also
leads me
have
to
Nicole in the chat. Hi, Nicole. Go ahead, Basil.
it leads me to wonder. We have these sightings and we have these impressions and things. Mysterious as they are, it makes me wonder if these are possibly some type of prehistoric creature that somehow survived the ice age, or could they be from another dimension, moving in and out of some type of uh, interdimensional time portal or something.
Well, that's an interesting theory. I mean, if they were interdimensional, it would explain a great many things.
Yeah,
Perhaps that's a crazy theory, but we're dealing
it
with
is indeed.
we're dealing with a crazy subject, and crazy doesn't exactly mean false in this situation. So
What do you guys think?
The chat. Brent says new species are being discovered daily. Anything is possible, even in your own backyard, especially my backyard. And Cub is making a joke about the Star Wars and their new Jedi who's a rock.
Rock fly spaceship. Stupid rock.
Oh, that'd be cool, Stonebender. This is my first stream ever, and you could tell if you heard the beginning. But yeah, that'd be fun. We can, especially you got a story about running into a Bigfoot. That would be awesome. Especially maybe when we do the one on the Bigfoot itself. That'd be great to have you in. Yeah, Cub is actually going to be joining us on the stream, and it's possible, him being in Germany, that he's ran into a Bigfoot himself, or more likely, probably a werewolf or something. The Black Forest. He's actually German, so from Germany, and we know, or I suspect, that werewolves have overrun Germany. I'm just kidding, but it's possible. I know a lot of the myths and legends, the Grimm's fairy tales, are based in Germany and centered on the Black Forest. and where there's smoke, there's fire. So whether he'll admit to being a werewolf himself or, knowing werewolves, we don't know. When he gets in here,
Just
perhaps.
a point here that or some of us know and understand that these fairy tales we've heard throughout our lives as children, really a lot of these things are based on fact, and some of them are based on myth, yes, but there's always something behind these fairy tales. Yeah, some of them are far fetched. I get that, but
Well, some of them are just made up, but
yeah,
what they
some
are
are
made up
as-
from, I don't think they're always made up out of whole cloth. I think
right.
I think that there are actual legends or are based on the, what would you call it, mankind's fears and also
Mhm.
our experiences and what our forefathers experienced and the mythos that's
What?
been passed down.
Yeah, I mean, it could go way back to the early biblical days, if you will,
Even before
where we
biblical.
know
Biblical 5,000 years ago. Some of these could go back to
even more than earlier than that.
even
Yeah,
before that.
yeah. Well, we do know that there were giants that were roaming the earth, and I mean they were immense, enormously tall. I mean, there's
And we probably
things
should
in
do
the
a show on the
scriptures that
giant.
say, we were grasshoppers at their, in their sight. So who knows?
Grasshoppers.
You
That
bring up a
that
very
really would be
interesting
big.
point.
I was thinking maybe 10 or 12 feet tall. I know when you talk about Bigfoot, one of the theories is it's a holdover from, I think it's called the Gigantopithecus. They were about
Uh-huh.
10 foot tall primate, and I could easily see something surviving through to this time. But as to why we haven't found more evidence, if perhaps these things are spiritual, uh, in the way that the Indians, uh, American Indians, Native people, they would believe in like the spirit world, and perhaps these are spirit walkers or something, or maybe that's how they would see interdimensional beings. Maybe that would be a way they would describe your theory of interdimensional, because
Uh-huh.
if these things could come in and out of our reality, that would explain why we don't find evidence of them. And
Find very
oh my
little
god,
evidence. I mean, there's been sightings of hair follicles, and hair shards of hair, but we really found no bones from the creatures themselves. We've seen the mayhem and destruction they've left behind, and the remains of people that have been attacked, or some of them have been eaten, partially eaten by these creatures too. And we've heard the reportings of the enormously loud sounds that these creatures have made, whether it's a growl or a yell or a mating call. We have no clue, but we do know it's a very loud, very eerie sound.
hey, I just figured out how to switch the comments, and we should have Cub joining us now.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hey,
so have you actually been to the Black Forest?
To the Black Forest here in Germany, you mean, or what?
Is there another Black Forest?
I don't know. I
If there
even
are
didn't
several,
know.
maybe have you been to all of them?
Yeah, I don't know if things here in Germany are called the same in English. You mean the Black Forest? Yes, Schwarzwald, it's called here. No, I haven't been there till now. That was a little bit too dark for me.
So do you think Germany is overrun with werewolves?
Yes, of course. Why
There you
not?
go.
How about Dracula?
Yeah, but Dracula is not from Germany. Dracula is from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he could be
Pennsylvania.
anywhere.
Of course,
No.
it was based on Vlad the Impaler, I believe,
Uh-huh.
who was
That's a
out
true
of
story, by the way. We'll go into that on another chat.
Yeah, there is
It's
so
a
much
very,
stuff.
very interesting story.
It's easy to get sidetracked. I noticed that
Yes.
you've chosen a Jawa as your avatar
Yeah.
this time.
Oh, there he is.
Yes. Yes. Finally, finally, a nice Java in the chat, and not a boring, annoying English one. Yeah. By the way, these movies, Boogie Creek, I watched them today, and Brent, no, here, Greg, are there? They are based on the legend or not?
Yes, you noticed at least the first one was like a semi-documentary style.
Yes. Yes, and I liked
So,
it really.
and these are a lot of times the actual people who um, encountered the creature. And that gives you kind of, instead of actors, you get to actually have a feel for whether they're telling the truth. You just watched it today, and really, you not really into stuff like this, but you're pretty fair about your assessments of things. What did you think about their veracity? Were they telling the truth? Do you think they saw something?
Yes, definitely. I think they were genuine. What they said. I wouldn't say that they have seen a real monster or not monster, a real Sasquatch or Bigfoot or what you call it.
But they
But
think they saw it, huh?
yes, they think they saw it, which I believe. I believe that they have seen something, and I wouldn't even rule out that they have seen something we don't know yet.
That's very fair. That's basically where I am on this. I can't. They seem like they're telling the truth, and these are people who remember these are mostly rural people. A lot of them spent time out in the woods their whole life, so they would be able to identify a bear or a person or something. This would have to be something totally out of their experience for them to. And we're talking shooting at it, so you wouldn't. Well, Cub might shoot at something that he wasn't sure what it was.
Hey,
But
I also shoot on something that I'm sure what it is. So
yeah,
I have
that's
no.
right. The
I'm not.
target
Hey,
identification is
I
critical.
don't discriminate by when I shoot something. I shoot everything.
That's very fair.
Yeah, that's why Germans and Texans are so compatible. They agree so good together. We don't
I would
discriminate in any form. We shoot at everything.
I would have to say that, speaking on the idea of shooting, I don't believe that a traditional rifle, be it a 30-06 or 243 or something like 7mm mag, would take out one of these creatures. I think it would do more harm for the individual shooting at him, or probably piss him off and send him back in your direction.
Well,
It's
has
like a
anyone
bear.
ever?
A bear is the same way. If you hit a bear and you don't kill it, he's going to turn around and come after you, like a wild hog will.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
But
you
go
could
ahead, Chuck.
you could compare it, I think, best with the biggest animal here we know from the woods that we know, and that would be the black grizzly or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this Sasquatch thing, if you could, I would compare it to that. Maybe he's even bigger or stronger or something like that. and a bear is a really strong animal. Can't just shoot it with a normal gun or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. A gun that you would bring out to hit a small mammal or something like a rabbit or a bird or something is going to be useless against a bear. And even one that's larger, like a 30-06 or something, primarily for a deer, you know, you might kill it if you hit it just right. But it's also the fact that no hunter has ever brought one of these things down. So maybe there's something we don't understand. Maybe there is a spiritual or interdimensional element to these things, and we're seeing them, but we're not able to interact with them in a physical way. Maybe firing the gun doesn't affect it at all because it I've never heard them talk about seeing blood spurt out from it or having it react to being shot, which is, I mean, if you shoot something with a 30-06, even though it might not kill it, you're going to take a huge chunk of meat out of that thing and probably get a massive reaction. But I don't think I've ever heard of that happening, which is extremely unusual because there's some trigger happy goobers, especially in the South. And if you show up that's why it'd be really dangerous to go around trying to spook hunters if you were in a suit like this. People think people are doing that. Yeah, that might work in some other parts of the country, and they would just, not want to shoot at it. But down here, they're gonna empty, high caliber rifles. Not everybody.
They're going to come after you. They're going to come.
They're going to shoot you, especially if you scare them or spook them. So, I would not recommend going around in the woods with hunters wearing a giant Bigfoot suit. You're going to get shot.
We've heard no reports.
Yeah, and we've never heard of that happening. Not that I've ever heard. It seems like we would have had a story about it.
And nor have I heard of anybody trying to trap one. Via one, maybe a large bear trap, which is about the only thing that you would think would be viable for one of these. We've heard no reports of any traps being set out in the woods or in the swamp or anything.
It seems like these things would be so smart that if they are caught in one, they could probably undo it. Unlike a bear, it seems like these are intelligent creatures.
Yeah. By the way, the movie itself is from 1972, I think, and it had a huge impact on the movie industry. I found out it was kind of the first pseudo documentary which inspired movies like Cannibal Holocaust and also Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, what would you call it? Like a half documentary, half. It had reenactments. I think that's the first time we had the reenactment thing going, and the original people who were in the encounters. I guess you'd call it an encounter. Reenacting it for the camera. It like you say, it was a landmark event, and it made what was it, like $25 million in 1970s money. And
it's called a docudrama, really.
Yes, it costs $100,000 and made 20 million worldwide, and this is and it was kind of it laid the ground for all these movies where nowadays what we nowadays call mockumentary, or not mockumentary, docudrama. Yes, because the difference between Cannibal Holocaust and Blair Witch and this one is that the Boggy Creek one really said from the beginning that there are reenactments in it. But Cannibal Holocaust and Blair Witch didn't do that. They pretended really to be documentaries. So that's the difference between those. But still, it was still a success, even with
Well,
saying that.
that's an interesting fact that this little movie. I guess you hadn't heard of it before. Actually, did that.
Yeah. I've heard of it before, but I never recognized it because I'm not so much into the Bigfoot stuff, and I knew what it was about, and as somebody who is not into that, I didn't watch it back then. But when you told me, yeah, here you are going to make a stream about it, I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. Yes, and I was
We're
surprised.
picking up a lot of noise on the mic.
Oh my God, what is mysteriously happening there?
I went into the other room. We're picking up a lot of background noise off of Q's mic for some reason. I thought he was eating a bunch of cookies. I gave him some cookies earlier.
No,
He was digging in.
I was
He was
actually
digging into the pack.
I was adjusting my glasses. Sorry about that.
Well, there was a lot of cookie crumbs spilling out of his mouth when I looked in the other room. So yeah, I guess he was adjusting the glasses.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
but
that. Go ahead.
no, I just want to ask. I hope we agree that the continuations of this original, they are both crap or not.
Oh, they're terrible. No, the first one is the only one, and it was made so cheaply. It's hard to call it a good movie, but like you say, it was groundbreaking, and it covered a subject that was really kind of verboten. People really, up until that point, they didn't admit to seeing stuff like this, and
Yeah. Yes,
it
and the
doesn't.
second one was, by the way, just to tell the people what we are talking about. The second one came out 5 years later, and it was not from the same people who made the first one, and it just tried to cash in. It was directly a normal movie with a story with children in the focus, and was a kind of children try to solve a case and things like that. It was horrible, bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, and
Well,
1985, there was Boogie Creek 2 from the same guy who made the first one. And it was kind of in the same style like the first one, but still not really good. He couldn't capture the tone.
No, he didn't capture the lightning in the bottle again.
Yeah.
So
I would say when you're going back to believe or not believe about people's sightings and people's reporting and things like this, when you talk to people in person about this, it's going to be easy to determine, or at least for me, it would be easy to determine if they're telling you the truth or not by listening to the tone of voice and watching the body language. Body language, believe it or not, will give you away 100% of the time, whether bullshit or you're honest. That's why the police focus whenever you see the police talking to people, they don't pay as much attention to the tone, to the voice, or to the words being spoken. They listen mainly to the tone of voice and watch the body language. That's what'll give you away 100% of the time. And if you're telling the truth, your body language, and your tone of voice will be accurate.
And they were believable.
Yeah.
Just saying hi to the boxing Jedi, he says, "Oh, they are real," in caps.
Hello, boxing Jedi. Welcome.
Yes, I think I would never say that these people who tell about these incidents make these up. I think that they believe what they have seen, and that's why, like you said, they are believable. You can see it with their body language, but still, that doesn't mean that there was really they have really seen a Bigfoot or something like that.
Well, they believe they saw something.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I can't deny. Let's see, what was Stone Bender says there's only a few Bigfoot hoaxes and over 10,000 sightings. That's big numbers.
Yes, and you can neither prove this is right, or you can't prove. Also, you can't prove it's wrong, because, as I said, the proof you just get when you finally get to catch one of these Bigfoots. You never, till then, you really don't have solid proof.
Well,
Maybe
if Q
footsteps.
is right and they're able to pop in and out of our dimension, you may never be able to catch one. That might be why, uh, even if they're shot or something, or maybe they're able to just transport interdimensionally, or maybe they're only partially in our dimension. I don't know. Q hasn't elaborated on the theory, but that is an interesting theory.
I have another question too. As far as these creatures, they've been around for so long. Why have we not heard more about attacks or, very close encounters with these creatures? It kind of leads me to believe that they want to somewhat be left alone.
Yes, it sounds
What do
like
you
that.
think?
They seem to be, if they really exist, the only reason why they would still exist would be that they are intelligent enough to don't mess with humans.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I think, depending on the species, the Boggy Creek ones seem pretty peaceful. Although in the movie, they are trying to. I don't know if attack is the right word, but I think they're trying to drive them out of their zone or territory. Maybe they're territorial, or maybe some of them, like individuals. Most of them are peaceful, and you have an occasional one who's a rogue. So I think the abominable snowman versions are considered much more violent and vicious.
Yeah, it's the Yetis, you mean?
The Yetis, yeah. So
Yeah.
perhaps they're different species.
Yeah. I would say it would make sense, because why should they all be the same species? We have uh, uh, on different continents, with the different areas. Here you have very much snow, and here you have a desert or something like that. And the same animal wouldn't make sense to survive there.
And just for a second on the abominable snowman or Yeti, they've got pictures and eyewitness accounts of people in extreme high altitudes who go up there and they see these tracks, big tracks leading off into nowhere, where there shouldn't be anywhere, where there weren't tracks right before in some cases, and that means something big moved through there quickly, and that's just so unlikely at the type of altitudes we're talking. These are altitudes a lot of times where you have to have oxygen to survive. So a hoax in that area, seems highly unlikely.
Let me
Um,
bring I'm going to ask you a question, Greg. Do you recall that show, that documentary we watched about these hunters who have seemingly just disappeared into the forest? And there
the
was,
missing 411 thing.
yeah, where there was a loud bang or a loud crack. And they just
Yeah.
seemingly disappeared after that.
Well, that's a whole nother show. I'm going to do that one with Mr. Matthews because
Yeah, but
he's
I'm
interested in it.
wondering if that same instance could be tied into this situation where perhaps there is some kind of portal that these creatures are, because you mentioned
Well,
that these prints went off into nowhere.
I'll tell you this,
That,
as a preview of that show. Yes, I think David Paulice is the guy who does the missing 411 shows, and I believe one of his theories is that Bigfoot is somehow connected with this, and And also, it could be that your interdimensional theory is connected with the whole thing. Missing people, Bigfoot, I don't know. If I knew,
Yeah.
I'd be rich probably, but all we can do is work with the information we've got, and we've got all these different mysteries, and it could be that a lot of them are tied in with each other.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? The thing is, we are living in a society where even normal information is hard to get. From the media, you don't get anything. You get light, even if they say
Oh, yeah.
hello, or tell you about the weather. You can be sure it's a lie. At least 50% of it. So from them, you don't have to expect anything. When it comes to these supernatural things, they don't even tell us the natural things.
Yeah,
That's true.
information is going to be a lot more difficult to understand and to come by now that we have, especially with the political situation we have here, in the United States today. We have our capital, the capital of the United States, which is supposed to be the people's place, is now, cordoned off from the people with barbed wire fence and National Guard and military personnel surrounding it. You
Yeah,
can't go in it at all.
that's a whole nother
You know,
subject. Maybe we should
it
move
is.
on to our next subject, which is the missing colony of Roanoke. Did you have a chance to go over any of that, Cub?
No, I haven't. I just could go over the legend of Boggy
You spent
Creek.
all your time on Boggy Creek and nothing on the Roanoke colony.
Yeah, sorry.
Was that a wise investment? You watched what 3 movies? Did all that
You
research?
put yours down, Cub.
That's fair. So back in 1587, Sir Walter Raleigh got together around 120 colonists and took them to America and dropped them off on the Roanoke Island. And they were there for like 6 months and decided they needed more stuff, more food, more tools, probably more guns. They had some incidents with the Indians. Matter of fact, this is the second colony um, that Raleigh had been in that same place. He had one that he pulled out of there like 5 years before, and apparently the governor had got into it with the Indians and killed one of their leaders. So there was some bad blood with the Indians in the area, and this has always been a big thing with the mystery shows, at least back in the day. I don't know if it's so much now because it never was solved. There was a series of they called them dare stones in the 30s. One of them turned up. I believe the one of the colonists was named Dare, and and this was the information scratched onto a rock saying that they had went to another location, which makes sense. It was the worst drought in, I don't know, centuries in that area. So perhaps they had to move for that reason. The problem is they didn't really leave any evidence of where they were going. There was only a name carved into a tree, and the name was Croatoan. And there was another one called Crow, Cro. Now Croatoan was a nearby island. When the governor came back, he had planned to be back in 6 months, but the war with Spain and the Spanish Armada interfered, and so it took him 3 years to come back. And his daughter had a baby, the first baby born in the Americas was in the Roanoke colony, and they were all gone. They disappeared. There were no bones. There was no sign of a fight. There was no messages other than that cryptic Croatoan carved into the tree. He tried a couple of times to make it to the island, but mysteriously storms came up and stopped him each time, and he went on home. There was never any evidence, although the people have looked for all these centuries to find out what exactly happened to these people. What do you think happened to these people, Cub?
It sounds mysterious. I've heard this word Croaton that rings a bell when I hear that, but I can't put it in the right sentence. I've heard that in a story or in a movie or something like that.
Well, that's interesting. We're going to go over that word in a few minutes because to tell you the truth, I didn't consider this that mysterious. I figured they were either killed by Indians, and I guess they took their bodies or drove them off before they killed them. Although they should have found some sign of them being there, some bones or something, some sign of the struggle. So the most likely thing is they ran out of food, or they were scared of the Indians coming in and killing them. Maybe they lost one or two people, and decided to go to another island. Maybe they tried to sail on a non-seaworthy ship or boats and got lost at sea. Perhaps the Indians forced them to go to another location off the island and killed them there. Perhaps part of them were killed and part of them were assimilated. But I really didn't see it as that giant of a mystery. Although, when I investigated it, I did find something interesting about this word Croatoan. I guess I could go over that. Black Bart, the famous Western outlaw, and Cub is our expert on Old West outlaws, so I'm sure he knows about Black Bart.
Yes, of course.
Black Bart, he carved the word Croatoan in his jail cell, and then he disappeared. They released him. He walked out the door, and no one ever saw him again. Number 2, horror author Ambrose Pierce carved Croatoan in his headstead of his bed in 1913. After that, he immediately vanished. In 1921, the famous ghost ship, the Carol Daring, grounded on shore. The last word in its logbook was Croatoan. Amelia Earhart scribbled the word Croatoan in her notebook shortly before she vanished on her flight in 1937. And, last but not least, Edgar Allan Poe spoke the word Croatoan as one of his last words he said on his deathbed.
Oh, that's where I know this word. I'm pretty sure because I've read some Edgar Allan Poe stories and made reviews on Edgar Allan Poe stuff. And maybe I stumbled over this word doing my work on that.
It could be, or perhaps from some other mysterious source.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's an interesting word. Could you find out the meaning or the roots of the word here in language? I mean,
Well, we'll have to do that. That's something that our expert on language, Mr. Q, or Bazil Brokehill, would be happy to do. What about that? Can you do that for us, Q?
I'll look it up.
There you
See what I
go.
can do for you.
Hey, so Basil is really kind of connected to here Basil, the mouse detective.
I guess so. Yes.
Ah,
So what do you think? What do you think about the
You'll find that Basil is quite an interesting individual.
So
He's
what do you
more
think about
intelligent than
the?
other people believe.
Okay, so put that great intelligence to use and tell us what happened to the Roanoke colony, Basil.
Well, a theory I was thinking about it could be, I mean, possibly cannibalism. Who the hell knows? I mean, yeah, there's no evidence of any remains being left behind, but cannibals don't leave
They don't
evidence.
leave gnawed bones. They always leave gnawed bones.
They consume
Yes.
it. They use the bones. They use the
They
bones. They
do.
could have gathered up the bones. Could have used them for whatever.
Whatever, like tools.
I mean, tool. Look at the Indians. The Indians are quite resourceful. They use the
India
entire
Indians or
animal.
Native Americans?
Wait a minute. Listen. Follow me here. The Indians are quite resourceful. Okay, when they kill an animal, they use the entire animal, the blood, the muscles, the sinews, the guts, everything has a purpose.
But
Cannibals the
not
same
when.
way. Perhaps cannibals are the same way. That's probably why we see no evidence. I don't know. It's just a theory. Another
Oh,
theory is
perhaps
perhaps
if if these cannibals were well established cannibals, I could see that. But you're saying the Roanoke colony ate each other and didn't. What
I
about the
don't
last
know.
cannibal?
It was
Why
just a
didn't we?
theory, just something I was thinking. It's probably wrong. I mean, I don't know.
I
But
don't know that
another
it's
theory
wrong.
is, I mean, going back to the other idea, another dimensional portal. Something could have
Well, yeah,
happened.
maybe it's a dimensional portal again. I know the British Museum went over a map that I believe the governor of the Roanoke colony had established, and he had put like a piece of parchment over part of the map where he had a symbol that looked like a fort inland of the Roanoke colony, and no one's been able to explain that why he would do that. Of course, he died a couple of years after coming back, so it is a mystery, but I don't think
Well,
it's like a huge mystery. I think probably
okay. Well,
they got.
let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
Remember this. Think about this. Of course, down in the Indonesia area, I believe it is.
Uh
Help me out here. We have this would be another stream too, but well, never mind. We'll leave it for another stream. It'll
oh.
confuse
Well, that.
everybody. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Okay, so Brent
it's
says there
sensory.
are insects and animals who have hardly changed since prehistoric time. Could still be a big grumpy Scottish lock lizard kicking around.
Lizard kicking around. That sounds
Maybe
like
Brent is
Dorothy
saying
Gray. Grumpy
maybe
Scott.
they don't know I'm Scottish.
They do now.
Maybe he's saying that the Loch Ness monster came over to Roanoke and ate the colonists. That's a theory from Brent.
No, the Loch Ness monster doesn't exist. They made that up
Oh,
because
Nessie's a
Wait,
she's a
that's going to
cool
be a
creature.
whole
You don't
different
pick
show.
on Nessie.
no. They're living on a stupid, boring little island who nobody cares for, and they're making these stories up that people care for it and come to visit them. They're still pissed that the Germans never came to visit them back then, here 80 years ago. They were waiting for us, but we never came.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Yeah.
I think you are probably glad you didn't show up.
Yeah. We were still pissed that they stole our Enigma.
I will say this.
Brent says German comedy does not exist, God.
Yes, he's right. It's even forbidden here in Germany, and I'm serious every time when I say something.
Okay, well, that's very serious. So, what did you think?
In the background, who could that be?
What did you think it was? What do you think happened to the colony, Cub?
I really don't know because it's not that I don't believe that maybe something happened to them and something like the Indians killed them or something like that. But the thing is, there are so many. You are talking about 120 people.
It's a
So
lot of people.
every theory you can come up with would end with how can so many of them happen? For example, cannibalism. But there are so many of them. Nobody can tell me they got all eaten up by other people, because if you want to kill 120 people, you have to at least have 500 or 1,000 people to do that.
I think I don't know. There's the whole mystery of that Croatoan word showing up in so many odd places.
Mhm.
So that I was going to dismiss this, but that it being on a ghost ship, being Amelia Earhart scribbled it, Edgar Allan Poe, it's very weird. I'm gonna have to give that like a 2%. This could be something related to the Croatoan, deal, and a 98% that for some reason they decided to leave that island, probably because of the drought and lack of food and hostile Indians. I don't think they were killed there. I
Well,
don't think they ate each other. You know,
according
Brent said
to
it was the Klingon.
according to the magical genie known as Google, we see the Croatoans are a small Native American group living in the coastal areas of what is now North Carolina. They might have been a branch of the larger Roanoke people or allied with them, according to Wikipedia as well.
Well, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Q has found his
Information is
Google.
information.
Yes.
Me?
Okay, so we have finished the two parts, but we have a special.
Lucky Wrench in the plan there. Yes, it did.
I'd only planned
All
a
right,
short
now,
stream.
go ahead.
But we do have an extra little bonus feature, which we'll try to have whenever we can. It's our horror section, the Ramree Island, Japanese versus crocodiles. So, the Japanese in World War II were being driven back after near the end of the war. The British were taking back Ramree Island, which is around India, and so this island is covered with crocodiles that get up to 20 feet long and are 2,000 pounds each. There are hundreds of them, and rather than surrender to the British, they decided to go through a swamp area. There were over 900 Japanese soldiers who went into this swamp. The British were just outside of it in boats, and they heard gunshots all through the night for several nights. What they captured about 20 survivors. 500 made it through the swamp. Over 400 Japanese soldiers were eaten by giant crocodiles in the
No.
worst crocodile versus human massacre battle of all time.
Oh, okay. And
So,
these crocodiles are still there, or what?
oh yeah, they're still there. They're still happy and probably pretty fat. So the question for you, Cub, would you rather be captured by the British, or would you go into that crocodile swamp and suffer, a 50% chance that you wouldn't survive?
I would take, of course, the crocodiles, because the British, I already know they're boring, and with the crocodiles, I'm pretty sure maybe something unexpected happens there.
And you got a 50% chance of getting through.
Yes, also I got this 50% chance.
And you got your own rifle, probably a bayonet. I mean, what's a 2,000-pound, 20-pound croc? I mean,
yes, yes,
yeah.
You got to remember too, the alligators have a very, very thick skin. Their crocodiles are the same way. You know, their
And the
skin is like
Japanese
thick
did not
armor.
use a high-powered rifle. It wasn't
yes,
like our 30-06.
and the Japanese didn't watch like me. One of the first movies I've ever watched as a child in the cinema was Live and Let Die. So I know how to deal with crocodiles. Thanks to James Bond. Thanks to
That's right.
Roger Moore's first appearance as James Bond.
And laser sharks. You also know how to deal with those. And we're gonna also get into our favorite crocodile movies when we end the stream here in a little bit. What about you, Q, Bazil? Would you rather be captured by the British or fight the crocodiles? Now, let me tell you this: the British, what they served to their POWs, part of it was tea and biscuits. You like biscuits, right?
I'd rather have a spot of tea and a biscuit as opposed to being fighting a crocodile in the salt water and not having a powerful enough weapon to defend myself with. So yes, I would be captured by the British.
Okay, you're thinking that the biscuits are these big buttermilk biscuits that we have here in Texas.
No.
They're as big as your hand. They're 3 feet. They're 3 inches thick.
No.
Wait, you. We haven't told you. No, it's not these giant buttermilk biscuits covered in sausage gravy that you're imagining. They're small. They're crunchy. They're a cross between a cracker and a cookie. So
yes,
and you get a little tea with it. Does that change your mind?
Nope.
You would rather be captured.
I would rather have a spot of tea than have to fight the ruthless crocodile.
Okay, so I guess I would.
You disagree, of course. You'd rather
no,
fight
I was getting y'all's opinion.
And them are skeeters and them are snakes and them are spiders and things like it.
I've been to the swamps of Louisiana. I know how good gator tastes. We could easily defeat the crocodiles. I would say attack. And remember, you're a Japanese soldier, and surrender is unthinkable to these soldiers. So,
yes.
I think Cub reflect. Well, yes, of course they did. The Brits probably preferable to the Croc, even with their less than delicious biscuits. Okay, so what's everybody's favorite crocodile movie? That's how we'll finish up the stream.
Yeah, okay. If I can start, my favorite crocodile movie is not with a crocodile. It's with an alligator, and it's also called Alligator from 1980 from Louis Teague.
Oh, is that the one where the gator comes up out of the sewer and attacks that limousine?
Yes.
I remember that.
That was cool.
That was cool.
That's my favorite.
Myself, I'd have to go with Lake Placid.
Part 2, 3, 4, or the original?
There are no other parts. They're just called that. It's never real. It has no real continuation. They just called it Alligator 2 and 3 and so on. These other alligators have nothing to do with the original.
Okay, well, I've got 3 of them because I'm running the show and I can pick 3. I'm going to go with Rogue, which was a really good crocodile movie. They're in the Australian outback, and this giant crocodile is picking them off out of a tourist boat one by one. Primeval, that was another good one. It's kind of set in Africa, I believe, and it's just well done. And the latest one, Crawl, where it's a bunch of crocodiles in the basement and the girl's trying to rescue her father.
Yeah, but this one was
A
really
heartwarming
horrible.
crocodile movie.
No, it was the last one. I really can't agree on that because that was horrible. The crocodiles were not real crocodiles. They were from out of the PC, and I hate CGI crap.
That's true. It was pretty CGI.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what
At
about
least
the heartwarming nature?
um, al- also, I think it was produced by Sam Raimi. I think
I think it
this
was,
this
yes.
new one. Yeah, yeah, and I was really disappointed by the poor story.
Well, he
No,
needed some money.
normally I like the small scale movies where it just plays out in a room or something like that if it's well done. But this the story was not really. It was far fetched first off, and also the crocodiles. They really didn't seem to be this kind of a threat when they looked so fake.
I tell you that the story of the Japanese army fighting those crocodiles and 400 guys getting killed, that would be a really good war movie, I think.
Yes, but I don't know how they want to pull that realistically off because I don't see 500 or 400 soldiers get eaten by crocodiles if their soldiers can defend themselves and it doesn't matter how big the crocodile is
It
because
doesn't matter.
yeah. So how big would they have to be that they really have
Well, you can't.
a chance against a troop of
They're 20
soldiers?
foot long and 2,000 pounds. And remember, a lot of these soldiers had been
Hey,
starved. The Brits had cut off their supplies. So they hadn't been eating well and they were sickly.
Yeah, but
as well,
crocodiles.
Cub, go back and watch. Go to YouTube, I believe you can find it. Watch a series called Swamp People. It's about alligator hunters out of Louisiana, and it'll show you the difficulty in killing an alligator. There's only
Well, Cub
one
is an
spot
expert
on
on
an
swamp
alligator
things.
you can that you can use that you can access to kill them. It's a tiny spot, it's about as big as your thumb on the back of their head. It's a soft spot. And you have to shoot it or stab it right there in that one spot, or else you'll never kill it.
Yeah, but I see crocodiles
Unless,
or
of course,
also
you throw a stick of dynamite at him.
alligators, for example, I don't see them as these animals that go on an attack or something like that. They are normally they're hound by that they don't that other animals don't see them. They're just lying there with open mouth or something like that, and animal
The same
steps
way with a
into their
crocodile.
mouth. Yeah,
A lot
something
of
like
them
that.
probably got stuck in the mud. And remember, crocodiles are excellent night hunters. It's amazing that 400 soldiers got killed like that. You would think they would be better able to defend
If
themselves.
Yeah. So
crocodiles
as I
will
said,
swim up,
I
catch them.
it I can't see that how the story would work because I can't
Well, it's
imagine
a true
how.
story, Cub.
Yes, but I can't. I have to
You
imagine
wouldn't
it in my
believe it
head.
if they made a movie. You'd say it was false. he
Cub was a
Yeah.
natural skeptic.
is a skeptic, which is perfect. Cub is kind of like our Scully in this. So we've got you always need a Scully on these mystery shows.
Exactly.
All right, I think we covered everything, and I planned on it being about an hour. Um, I think we could wrap this thing up. Y'all got any last words?
Lake
uh,
Placid.
yeah, my last words. I see you later in an hour on the other stream.
Oh, that's right. We've got a stream we're doing with Cub on the Cub's Corner.
We got a
If
coach
y'all want
coming
to
up.
hear
It's
us
gonna be
all,
fun.
yeah, we're going to be discussing movies, specifically um,
King Kong.
King Kong versus Godzilla, and possibly some other stuff
Hey
like
guys, yeah,
Resident
I encourage you to
Alien.
join us. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. We'll all be doing that. Cub has a little bigger channel. He's German. This is a channel that
Yes,
comes out of Germany.
of course. The
He does a
German.
lot of movie reviews and stuff. I recommend you sub to him.
Hey, of course, the German bigger superior channel, as usual with Germans, or not?
Well, in their own minds, certainly.
Well, in closing,
He's very thorough. He does a lot of. And Brent says, "Great first episode, everyone. Thank you. Take care." And Utini, everybody. Thanks so much for coming by. Stonebender, if you sub to me, maybe we can get you on a Bigfoot episode sometime. I'd love to hear about your encounter. And maybe Cub can tell a ghost story, or Brent, or Q, or somebody. I'm looking not just for these specific mysteries, but if people have actual encounters or mysterious things that have happened to them, love to hear about that stuff.
Hey,
in coming episodes, OG and I will be talking about some very mysterious things that happened to us on some various fishing trips we've had. It's going to be very interesting and very detailed. You'll like it.
There you go.
Hey,
All right, so go ahead, Cup.
Can we next time talk about these mysterious species that you have here over there in the US? They're called, I think, Democrats or something like that. And I've heard if you get bitten by a Democrat, you also become a Democrat or something like that. Is that true?
Oh, it's a deadly disease.
Yes, definitely do that, Stonebender. Leave the email and we'll get together and do a stream.
Yeah, they're lurking in dark corners and
that'll be excellent. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And constantly
I'm really glad you showed up.
Try to make the life of normal people miserable or something like that. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I'm trying not to be political. But yes, the Democrats are strange, mysterious creatures. And we'll maybe do a stream on them one day.
Yeah, we
They're
have
about
to
as
look
dangerous as the 30-foot crocodile.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I can't believe I actually made it work, people. And
also, I've heard they are worshipping a mummy or something like that.
Yeah, thanks to Brent and Cub and Bazil and everybody who dropped in, and Stonebender and anybody I'm forgetting. So I'm going to end it now, and thank you very much, people. Goodbye from Texas.
Yeah,
say goodbye, people.
Bye.
Bye from Cub from Germany, and don't forget about our stream, Cub's Corner, in a little bit. And that's starting at what time, Cub? In 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah, in 45 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye.